Okay, we should be live, we should be running, we should be working, we should be doing things that are highly functional. Right, hopefully the sound's good. If it isn't, quite frankly, my opinion at the moment is fuck it, but at the same time, if one of you tells me that it's not working properly, I will take a look at it. Either way, hello, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain. I'm absolutely exhausted, for various reasons. But today, a couple of days ago, we hit 100,000 views on the channel, which is, in my opinion, kind of cool. Because to me, it puts some things in perspective. Most prominently, 100,000 people, more than that actually, it's now 100,600 and something people watching my content, looking into things with me, having discussions, asking questions, benefiting from some of the stuff that I'm doing, or just enjoying some of the stuff that I'm doing. Yeah, it's kind of incredible, especially considering that 100,600 people is about 201 times the number of people that I've actually spoken in front of directly as an audience. And so, that's huge in terms of just, trying to visualize that number. Just doesn't work. And I realized that a fair number of those views are going to be you guys watching videos, catching up on them. I know that I've got certain friends or certain colleagues, certain clients that have watched their way through a good chunk of the videos, kind of sporadically. So in that case, it's going to be, not as many people as 100,000, but in terms of just the reach overall, that's pretty substantial to me. But there have been a couple of other things that I've been noticing as a result of hitting this big 100,000 view figure. Now, we know that at one point YouTube had the whole, you had to hit 10,000 views for your channel to be remonetized, and after the first adpocalypse where they demonetized for the first time, and then they changed things around so that it was watch time and subscribers, which again was highly controversial, still a really stupid move on their part. But one of the things that stood out to me is that for the longest time, regardless of how many views videos have got and how many comments things have got and how many people seem to be engaging with the content, how large my analytics numbers are in regards to, on average, getting about 3,000 views a month. It's like, for the longest time, we've been sat at about 220 to 225 subscribers. And at times, people have messaged me and said that they've been removed, but then they've resubscribed and they've sat. But then also there are times when YouTube does its thing and scrubs the potential bots and things, or at least what it thinks are the bots, whenever a video is released. And hello, extra person who has just turned up. Nice to see you. But when they have been doing that, when they've been scrubbing those people out, it doesn't turn up in the analytics. There's no blip there. It's just that the number's been amended. And that's kind of interesting, but then also, as a result, we've been sat on the channel at that about 220 to 225 mark in terms of subscribers. But then we hit this 100,000 views mark literally 2 or 3 days ago, and all of a sudden we've got our subs climbing up again. We're up to, I think, 233 at the moment after just a couple of days of this kicking in, which again isn't, I want to say it's just an organic shift, during the winter periods, during when it's rainy and it's miserable. You've got people staying in more, watching more videos on YouTube. You've got that pickup in audience size. But at the same time, considering how shady YouTube has been and how lacking in transparency they are, and how completely contradictory and hypocritical that they have been at times, there's a part of me that's just like, I bet you anything that they have put in potential other blockers at certain points. For instance, the fact that they don't let us use, regardless of who we are, they don't let us use the certain utilities within the site until we've hit certain thresholds. Which to me, YouTube's just a flat platform. At least it should be. All various bits and pieces should, in terms of utilities, in terms of things that we can take advantage of or access, should be available to everybody because it is a flat, open, public platform. Privately run company, sure, but they're providing this open platform to everyone. You go to any other social media site, for the most part, you don't have to have X number of friends, for instance, to be able to access something on Facebook. It's just a set of tools that you can use to interact with people. YouTube is one of the only places that kind of tries to tier it out and stratify it substantially, even if it just comes down to utility features. The community tab, some of the other bits and pieces in regards to, the new YouTube stories, I think, where at the moment it's people who are 10,000 subscribers or above who can use the YouTube stories, and who can use, or at least the beta version of YouTube stories, and the community tab, when the community tab would probably be most advantageous for either both big creators, obviously, who are trying to manage their communities, but also for smaller creators like myself that want to develop the communities that we have, to help them grow. To, recently, because of some of the stuff that I've now been doing outside of recording, outside of coaching, because survival is a thing, it's a case of me going, right, well, I am having to communicate through Facebook, but not all of you follow me on Facebook. Twitter, but not all of you follow me on Twitter. In which case, though, it comes down to me potentially having to try and put out other videos. But if I've not been able to generate a video, then you guys are just left in the dark. There might be a gap in the upload schedule. I mean, there were 2 this week just gone. And so, that's something that I don't like very much. It's something that I don't want to have happen. I don't want to leave you guys with just a gap in the upload schedule. I've said several times over the last couple of years, my schedule is between, dropping a video at 2 and dropping a video at 5 UK time. And, with live streams possibly supplanting things like this one now, kicking off at 7:30. But it's a case of kind of going, without those other utilities, I don't have that way of touching base with the largest audience that I have, with the people that actually care about the content that I'm creating, or at the very least, invest their time in the content that I'm creating. And it's I want to do more. I want to generate more, and I want to reach out for more people, even far and beyond anything that I've done so far. But it becomes difficult when YouTube makes itself into an obstruction, which, again, I can't understand. Which kind of leads me on to this Article 13 stuff that's been going on. Which, just, again, YouTube's comments make me kind of roll my eyes. Because we've got the CEO of YouTube turning around and going, this is going to cause untold damage to the economy of YouTube. Yeah, that's all very well and good, apart from the person who's done the largest, or the entity that has done the largest amount of damage to YouTube, both in terms of for creators and for viewers and for the sponsors and the large corporations investing in YouTube has been YouTube. In which case, yes, Article 13 could do with some kind of roping in, certainly, some nailing it down to some specifics, definitely. But the biggest problem, in my opinion, from the giant that is YouTube, the giant that should by far be corralling the entire conversation and leading the charge against the thing that could kill off its economy, they've done more damage to their own economy than basically anyone else has, due to their poor management, their poor policies, their vagaries, their own vagaries. The fact that they turn around and say this is too vague, this is damaging, and yet their own policies are so horribly vague. It's hypocritical. It's horrible. You know, it's a complete. It's just such a stupid thing. Which is why, to me, the 100,000 views at the moment this week just gone is kind of important to me, because if something horrible happens, like, I'm going to be doing some stuff around Article 13 and so on if I can, but like, if I'm not able to one way or the other, or if it comes to pass without any amendments or, you know, whatever else, then it kind of ends up being a situation where potentially this 100,000 views and whatever else is literally the peak of what I might achieve, considering that next year we're facing all kinds of horrible shit. Article 13, over here we're facing Brexit, we're facing a whole load of other stupid shit that no one really wants. So, you know, it could be a horrible downhill slope from here. But, you know, I mentioned a moment ago the stuff that I'm doing outside of coaching, outside of recording, the stuff that has kind of drawn me away from doing what I kind of want to do and what my kind of overall dream profession, dream occupation, and everything else involved with it is. A lot of you guys, I've mentioned it several times now across a collection of different videos, you know, the new opportunity or this other stuff that I'm doing. You know, I've talked about it very vaguely. I'm obviously not wearing the usual t-shirts and things. You know, I'm as much as I'm not wearing a college shirt, I am in more business attire at the moment, because it's, only about an hour and a bit since I got home, ish, if that. Yeah, something like that. In fact, no, it's probably closer to about 40 something minutes. But either way, the reason, a fair number of you guys have asked me why I haven't talked about what I'm doing, and as a result, considering we're talking about you know, hitting this benchmark, hitting this milestone at the moment, I just wanted to address this because I've had the question a few times in messages from friends, stuff like that, and it's just like there are two main reasons. The first one is that, quite frankly, the social media policy for this place that I am doing this stuff with, or doing this stuff for, or however I want to describe it, is thorny. Some of their corporate documentation that I read through on getting into this position, oh my god, it was some of the bleakest fucking corporates, like, just so dry. It was just the driest, bleakest, most imposing piece of corporate literature I have ever read, written, anything. Any interaction I have had with it, it was horrible. And yet, you know, looking through it, a good chunk of it isn't really enforced. But one of the things that I don't want to tempt fate with is the social media policy. You know, and as a result, by literally not putting out there what I'm doing with this entity, and how I'm interacting with them, what positions I fill, the stuff that I'm doing, the skill set that I'm using. You know, I'm talking about some of my experiences and some of the things that I'm doing in certain videos very vaguely. You know, some of the ones from the last week that were more coaching based were inspired by some of the things that I'm experiencing as a result of being in this new position, taking advantage of this new opportunity. And so with that in mind, you know, I don't want to stop being able to converse about those things with people. I don't want to stop having to interact with you guys on all manner of different topics, or talking about politics on occasion, or talking about the news, or talking about culture and media, and you know, obviously we're playing games together. You know, I don't want to have any of that bump into what I'm doing for survival at the moment. And so, you know, keeping them completely separate, so that I've not listed what I'm doing, who I'm doing it for, how I'm doing it, any of that stuff. And also, they know that I'm a coach. They know what I'm doing for myself, and it's like there's no reason for me to put them in the position of kind of, am I worth keeping around, or are they going to try and bash heads with me over what I'm doing? You know, there's no point in generating the hassle there. And so that's the first main reason, is the social media policy, where I am taking advantage of this opportunity that was put before me, is kind of constrictive. And even though it's probably not all that well enforced and no one really cares, no point in tempting fate, considering how bleak and miserable the write-up is. You know, so that's the first reason. The second reason is that ultimately it's there are elements of what I do coaching wise and what I do with you guys that line up with this other thing that I'm doing, but it's a lot of transferable skill stuff. It's not really applicable to what this channel is. You know, if I'm playing a game, then fine, that's me demonstrating some work-life balance. That's me enjoying time with you. That's me building up that relationship with you guys where you can just see me relaxed. Because I'm aware that when I'm talking to you guys and I'm focused on kind of more what I'm saying, or I've put some notes down in front of myself, or we're talking about some very specific topics, or I'm reviewing something that someone else has said to me or asked me to look into, I understand that, you know, my work brain kicks in over my my more relaxed brain. Like, I've had friends and family turn around to me and they've gone, we can tell which video you know is playing when we turn it on and we just run a playlist or something like that to see what you've been up to. Because if it's a coaching video, you're very business, you're very kind of straightforward, you're much more kind of point. When you're playing a game, you're much more relaxed, you swear a lot more, and you tend to just kind of rumble around doing your thing. And so as a result, you know, I'm a human being. You guys are all human beings. I want us to appreciate each other for what we are. Yeah? This is why, even though I've gotten some really nasty comments at times on the channel, and people have kind of tried to dig into me, get a rise out of me, all that kind of thing, it doesn't work, because I know that every single person that's interacting with me, including myself interacting with my own content, we're all flawed, you know, and it comes down to reinforcing things with evidence, or talking things out, or having a laugh about it. And when it comes to just the mean, nasty comments, having a laugh about it is usually the thing that comes to mind. You know, I've actually got, not so long ago, I actually had the video where I had my favourite nasty comment, where it was just such a weirdly put together comment, which was just so entertaining to me. But yeah, it's tough. I don't really, you know, where I can go, yes, we learn through gaming, we learn through playing games. When we're kids, we learn through playing games. I continue to learn things about myself and about, you know, new skills that I can apply, better ways of working through playing games, be it games in terms of computer games that you guys watch me play, in terms of board games, in terms of games like pen and paper RPGs, in terms of all kinds of different things. It's that safe environment with stakes that you can still, you know, win and lose, but no one really gets hurt, no one really gets ended by it. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why kids are so capable of learning so many different things. Yes, their minds are young, empty, and elastic, but at the same time, the way that we teach them is through a way that humans learn particularly well. One of the biggest problems is that we stop doing that. We stop setting ourselves fun challenges. We stop framing things as a game, and we just expect people to take stuff on board. You know, if you want to do well, gamify something, and not just gamify it, but make it accessible through gamifying it. You know, something else that potentially a lot of people could learn from when it comes to HR, training programs, all that kind of stuff. You know, you need to set those fun challenges. You need to give them the rules. You need to give them the tools, and then you need to set them off on their little adventure to have a good time. And so as a result, you know, I don't feel me doing stuff of me just relaxing, playing a game, talking about games, talking about media, you know, that's a holistic thing. But when it comes to what I'm doing specifically for survival, yeah, there's overlap. And I'll talk about the skills. I'll talk about the things that I'm feeling, the things that I'm thinking, the things that I'm interacting with that then inspire me to make a video because I've got information that I can kind of draw to it to solve my own problem. But then if I've got that problem, how many other people are going to have that problem? You know, it lets me share it around a bit more. But again, it's kind of getting to the point at which, yeah, okay, I can do all of those things. That still doesn't mean I need to mention what I'm doing or again risk the potential social media policy infringements or anything like that. So, you know, those are the big two reasons. One is that it doesn't seem to line up as well as the stuff that I'm doing on the channel anyway, and it doesn't really have any bearing on it. But then also the second one is more that they have this very, very spiky social media policy that there's no real reason for me to potentially incur the wrath of. You know, if I don't mention them in any of my my social media content, if I don't post on any of my social media about the job that I'm doing or anything like that, then that just leaves me off and free and clear, right? If I make a video and it pisses off a lot of people, well, that's fine, it pisses off a lot of people. I'm not on social media outside of work. This is very obviously my opinions, my knowledge, my skills being brought to bear when it comes to generating the video content that you guys watch. And as a result, they can't turn around to me and go, you're giving the company a bad name, you're misrepresenting the company, you're doing all of these terrible things that are bad as far as the social media policy is concerned, we're going to kick you in the teeth. You know, they can't do that, and, you know, if they wanted to try, then it would be more than an uphill struggle for them to do it. And especially since, last June, I want to say, in the UK, kind of taking places to tribunal for work or contract related problems and things no longer has charges applied to it. So, you know, any wrongful dismissal, any wrongful disciplinaries, any things like that, I'm not, as a person, disinclined to fight that. You know, I'm a D-type personality as per disc, so, you know, if you try to take me on, I'll try to take you down. So if you know, they see a video that they don't like, then by all means they can come and talk to me about it. But if they start trying to wave their big social media policy based penis around, suffice it to say they're going to get it cut off in many ways, purely because I'm being very careful about what I'm saying, what I'm doing, and what I'm exposing. you know, whilst in their case, you know, they can observe, but this is a company unto itself. Silver Mountain Coaching is my company. Man on the Silver Mountain is one of its media outlet or social media outlet locations, and that's it. They can't, unless they want to directly interact with my company, then they can't interact with the content. They can't cause a problem for me or anything like that. So, you know, that's something that I've just wanted to be kind of free and clear of, you know, for the time being. I don't want to run into those problems. I don't want to make my life harder just because I want to continue doing this stuff with you guys. I want to continue doing my coaching bits and pieces. I want to continue having my own life, doing my own thing and striving for my own goals, rather than having to go, right, survival is the only thing possible. And so I have to ditch everything in favour of survival. You know, does it mean I'm maybe a little bit tired? Does it mean that my schedule is more packed than ever? Yes, it does. But at the same time, overall, it's manageable. I'm still getting used to creating content, uploading content. The biggest pain in the arse is actually uploading stuff, because it can take, at times, depending on if the internet here wants to be amazing or terrible, it can take a couple of hours to upload a video or more. And so it's kind of a case of when I've created the videos, when I've done the editing, that's all fine. It's kind of self-enclosed. But when it comes, and it usually takes about the same time, regardless of what it is that I'm doing. You know, if I'm recording something, it takes as long as it takes. If I'm editing something, then it might take an hour or so to compile a video. But when there's so much variance in the amount of time that it takes to upload something, you know, it becomes a bit more difficult, because, again, YouTube is not always the most helpful when it comes to timing out after something's been uploaded. I've had that happen to me a couple of times, and I've lost videos that just, it's gone, oh, the page is timed out because the upload finished, and yeah, that's kind of it. But no one clicked publish, so that must mean that they didn't want it uploaded, so yeah, it's gone. You know, I've had that a couple of times, not for a while, thankfully, and touch wood, not again for a while, please. But, you know, it does kind of make it that little bit more difficult to stack stuff up. You know, just to tier stuff out so that I've got all the time for one thing, all the time for some of the other stuff that I've got to do, you know, all the time to live, you know, and then as well having that extra time to just make sure that everything's up online with the SEO done and so on and so forth. Like, there have been times when I've gone, I don't have, in fact, last week was a good example with the Conan Exiles video. I was sat there and I was going, what do I call this? What do I call it? What do I make the thumbnail? And I didn't have the time to really do a great job of it. I found a screenshot, I paired it in, I came up with basically what happens in the video, threw it out there as the title and the thumbnail and stuff like that, and I was just like, that's going to have to do. And I didn't like doing that. That's the thing that gets to me. The fact that I can't take as much time, even though I've gained in skill in regards to putting things together. You know, I'm still by no means the most skilled, not by a long shot, but at the very least I now know what I'm doing for my stuff. And do I want to improve more? Of course. Is there a lot of things or are there a lot of things that I could do to push forward in finding those things, in doing those things? Absolutely. Are those a possibility at this precise moment in time? Not so much, not quite. So as a result, like, knowing my way around the putting the stuff together side of things is fine, but again, the time is a bit of a crunch. I wanted to get back and do more with the blog that I set up, the WordPress blog, and yet the research for videos takes a while. Setting up the videos takes a while. Then also having to write basically another video's worth. Possibly pulling up old videos, possibly doing new research to support what the old video was saying if it's a kind of callback. Yeah, it just becomes even more time consuming, and it's the one thing at the moment that I've got that can sit and kind of stagnate for the moment. As much as I don't want it to, I'm having to prioritize, and unfortunately that's a slightly lower priority. So it's all go here is, I guess, what I'm saying, and the 100,000 view milestone. Yeah, that's definitely definitely a highlight. Definitely something that puts some stuff in perspective, and then as I was saying towards the beginning, makes me kind of ask some questions of why it is that all of a sudden the YouTube censor algorithm that's coming through and kind of either suppressing some of my content or just really scrubbing my subscriber base clean, or even potentially just removing people for the sake of removing them, giving me false readings, whatever, however we want to look at it. It's just like it causes me to question things. It causes me to question a lot of things, because YouTube doesn't give us anything to work with. It doesn't give us any information on these things. We don't see all of these hidden tierings and stuff like that. So, excuse me. Sorry. So it's yeah, stuff that I would love to have answers to, but I probably never will. Anyway, I was going to stream for a tad longer, but I'm losing my train of thought, partly because I'm a bit knackered, but also just because even though I thought I wanted to say more about the 100,000 people, 100,000 views, and stuff like that. It's a milestone for me, more so than a substantial milestone for everybody. When we get to larger milestones and things, then yeah, I'll definitely want to be doing more. But again, and hopefully by the points we get to those milestones, I will have developed some further means of survival and or adapted to the ones that I have now with this opportunity with the harsh social media policy, to the extent that I can take a bit of a step back, I can sort some things out, I can develop things without it just killing all of my time and causing me a bit of an issue. Either way, guys, I think even though this has only actually been a half hour, I think I'm going to call it here, just because I am knackered, and as said, I've only been home for a bit, so I could probably do with just going and chilling out for a while. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys, all of the three of you, now two of you actually, that have dropped by. If you're watching this as a video on demand, again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. If it weren't for you guys coming, finding some of the stuff that I'm saying interesting, being interested in some of the games I'm playing, interested in some of the skills and the things that I can bring to bear, then we wouldn't have hit that milestone. We wouldn't be hitting these milestones for me, or even arguably for us, as the more of these milestones we hit, be they in terms of subscribers, in terms of watch minutes, in terms of views, in terms of basically anything, then it will continue to push me on, push me forward, allow me to promote, allow me to do more things. I've got the list of things that you guys were interested in me doing, as well as the things you were interested in regards to things like Patreon or in regards to things like merch. And I've not forgotten them. They're all down here. They're all floating around in my head still, and they're all things that I want to move forward on. But obviously, the increased number of interactions that we're having, be it views, be it watch time, be it subscriptions to the channel, all of it makes it easier. Every single bit. Even if it's nothing that seems tangible. As I said, the 100,000 people, 100,000 views worth of people is hard for me to visualize. Even if it's a good chunk of you watching again and again and again, or watching different videos over time, that's still really difficult for me to visualize, just that number of people in front of me, as it were, behind the camera. So, keep doing what you're doing, guys. I'm proud, at least a little bit, of where we've gotten to now. Do I want more? Of course I want more. I'm crazily ambitious when I want to be, especially for the things that I care about. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where things go from here, especially as I get used to this other situation that I'm in and used to planning the channel and my coaching stuff and everything else around that. It's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out in the long term. But either way, guys, I'm going to call it quits here because I am kind of tired, and I do have some other bits and pieces that need doing. So for those of you that tuned in, thank you very much. For those of you that watch this as an archived video or a video on demand kind of thing on the YouTube channels, on our channel, on Man on the Silver Mountain, afterwards, I'm falling asleep as I'm talking. Then, thank you to you guys as well. And hopefully we'll keep seeing more views, we'll keep seeing more subscribers, we'll keep seeing more good things, and I'll be able to do so much more for both myself and for you guys as we move forward. So either way, though, thank you very much, and I will see you, well, in the video on Monday, I guess. Take care.